Yanzo Beje, Yunden Chombarwe, Pema Jonen Dale Yanzur Jon, Bumbulu Duarian Dewadan, Tome Yen Cholan Jujinda, Jujun Januni Baozo, Zamlin Jencho Nanjenda Ejon, Pondri Degarin Jenin Bugula, Yunden Gunjunga Veshazardo, Nimbi Zimbe Nanjaraba. Jime Ezri Jajenda Ejon, Redon Jamba Juno Jinole, Bumbelon Lepo Binter Jedo, Londo Junzen Junzen Owanjur, Mipam Jambi Anjenda Ejon, Amonguru, Jenimba Mendenji, Shezala, Kunjaran Jundu Jejim Bedin, Dujikala Kamentanawa, Palden La Meja Jeda Ejon, Yende Sanje Kandanya Naya, Kadin Sanje Kunel Habigwen, Savila Meja La Soande. Mazundo alamna chela jur kondo jur dongi jidena de chela marjur bakan suda tendir dambi chu jenjar bebe sembra deva thadan de she namo ariandamba laye ke dan lu dan jinge nugum da dame ke nam dan doa gunje danam jizambar tamje ke do susur te jur je Manjurundwa Namkat Nanyam Besim Jen Tamje Namdol Tenji Dewa Laname Bayanda Parzu Bisanji Jungu Hwaran Burjela Chine Jangu Brasha Tei Chedo Teba Chimbi Shunglu Yazi Chimbo Shiwala Tenyi Jinzebi Chanju Simbi Cheba Lanjupa Tenyi Tsushindu Sene Nyamso Langwar Gyo Nyamdo Samba Chanju Choto Tujeba Danchi De Sen Tsal So first have a right intention to engage into teaching and listening Dharma with the generating Bodhisattva, thinking in this way, starting from one's mother who have been great kind to each and every individual, and similar like that, and all the sentient beings have been provided all those four or three or two, any kind of those great kindness to each and every individual who ever survive at the moment, for sure. So therefore, have that sense, all the sentient beings, one or another time have been one's mother who provided all those four great kindness to oneself. And with that sense and willing to pay kind their pay back their kindness, the best is to lead them to complete enlightenment. And so for that purpose, I'm going to listen this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, Way of Bodhisattva's Life, and I will going to implement whatsoever I understand through this study. With that kind of sense or intention, listen this teaching. And beside this kind of right motivation and then also the right conduct, while listening Dharma teaching, one should prepare, listen carefully in an excellent way, and then try to memorize it. And with that, almost we are completing the preparation part of the listening or engaging into the Dharma activities. And then the actual Dharma teaching, here we are studying this way of Bodhisattva's life, which has a 10th chapter, 4 themes. So the first and second theme, which is how to receive Bodhisattva's vow within oneself and how to maintain properly, which have been completed with the 6th chapter. And then now today we are in 3rd theme, that further how one can develop or improve this kind of like the conduct of bodhisattvas, or the how to improve further this bodhicitta, until what destiny one should improve. That's what talking about the third theme, which is provided by seventh, eighth, and ninth, those three chapters. So among the three those chapters, we are in a first this diligent meditation and wisdom. So we are in a first this diligent chapter of diligence, how one should have diligence towards its spiritual path, or kind of like a toward the Mahayana path. Mm, so for that, kind of like the introduction, introducing briefly why we need diligence, and then what is the entity of diligence, and then the what are the contraries of the diligence. So in order to have a genuine diligence within oneself, and what we need to deal or subjugate or eliminate or reduce is those contraries of diligence, which is in short lazy. And then that lazy, in order to identify it properly, those lazy, then uh, we should understand there are three types of laziness, that those are the laziness of procrastinations, and the laziness of clinging to unwholesome actions, and the laziness of discouraging oneself. So this three types of these three types of laziness, it's just a sense. Actually, it is just a sense. And the also diligence is also the another sense. This is all now kind of like a very much dealing with the mind, mental. So that further, in order to develop the bodhicitta, then mainly what we need to deal with the mental. There's nothing physical and verbal to do anything here. What is the ultimate that we need to modify it, and we need to improve, develop? It's the our this mental qualities, which is the such as diligence and meditations and wisdoms, and these things will lead our mind towards enlightenment. and and then, to since the antidote or the remedy itself, it's all with the mentals, therefore, and also the kind of like the what do you call the contraries, yes, the contraries, or the fault, that which through this remedy, through this antidote, has to reduce and subjugate or eliminations, are also the sense like a mental force, such as this laziness here, diligence, that in order to have a genuine diligence within oneself, and we should suppress or reduce at the beginning, and then eventually we should eliminate from its root those laziness and the distractions, and the kind of like mm, not having understand the properly the true nature. This is all our mental. So the distractions, and the for remedy or the antidote for the distraction is meditations. And then the remedy of or antidote for the wrong perceiving or understanding the true nature is the wisdom, or intelligent, in very lightly intelligent, but in a very kind of like a the um, what you call a exact antidote is the wisdom. Yeah, the wisdom. So anyhow, here that after understanding the diligence, its contraries, which is the laziness, and within laziness, there are three types. And those three types of laziness is born or growth from the taste for idle pleasure and craving for repose and sleep, and no comes about the sorrow of samsaras, and laziness indeed is born from this. So uh, after this third stanza, from fourth stanza to the what do you call the 14th stanza, within this 11th stanza, first Shantideva providing all those antidote or skills or method how to suppress or reduce and eliminate the first type of laziness, which is the procrastination's laziness. So from here, stanza 4, the subject is how to implement the remedy of procrastination, laziness. So how to do that? And yesterday we discussed, or we studied those two stanzas. And as I always saying, and uh, since this is a scripture, it is describing many different skills and method again and again. But for the individual, whatever the one skill or the method suitable, and that is good enough to eliminate or subjugate, or at the beginning, reduce, suppress, press down, lay it low, right? Lay it low, or kind of like the at the beginning, at the very beginning of practice, what we can do is the malleable our sense of laziness, the malleable the laziness of procrastinations. We won't be able to eliminate at the beginning, 100% sure, because we have this strong habit of delaying or procrastinating or postponing things that which we need to do, that things which is our responsible, that we have this strong habit that because of idle pleasure, because of sleep, because of craving for repose and sleep, or because of the how to say the no calms about the sorrow of samsara, whatever the reason behind, that we have this strong habit to delay it or postpone or procrastinate, all this are responsible. So therefore, depend on how much we have strong habit with that sense of laziness, and according to that, and then these antidotes will going to be work, that these antidote at the beginning, if my habit of procrastination, laziness, it's so strong, then these remedy or antidote first only able to malleable all these things, not even suppress or lay it low. First we have to malleable this, and once it becomes like a little bit malleable, then we will be able to lay it low, or the suppress, is it suppress or lay it low, same, right? Lay it low or the suppress, and then still uh, apply this antidote continuously, then it will going to be subjugate, and then continue work with this antidote, then eliminate. That's how it comes. uh, all the practice is like that, all the implementing in a spiritual path, it's like that. First malleable, then lay it low or suppress, and then kind of like a reduce or subjugate, and then eliminations. So when we reach to the elimination, then that's the purpose of spiritual training is done. The purpose of implementing the spiritual path is complete. And that's the goal that we are trying to achieving through this path. Anyway, so we studied yesterday those two types of antidotes. And then from here, 3, 4, many different skills, but somehow it is all related with the impermanent or accepting uncertainty. So recognizing the uncertaintiness, its nature. It's the antidote to malleable or lay it low or reduce or later subjugate and eliminations. This, the laziness of procrastinations. And some of these are actually, if we just read, it's not something very difficult to understand. But if we don't carefully read, and then we won't really understand what really Shantideva was trying to saying here. Shantideva was kind of like making joke to us and telling us, and Shantideva was trying to telling me that I am like a fish and I am like a buffalo, which is, I don't like to hear that. I'm not. I disagree that. Oh, I don't want to be like a fish. No, I'm not that foolish. Oh, I am not also like a buffalo. I'm not that foolish either. No, none of this I will agree with you. But somehow, anyhow, if we fail to remember ourselves, remind ourselves, or kind of like implement occasionally and time to time that the practicing upon this uncertainty and particularly the death, and forget, if we forget and completely neglect about death, then even though we dislike to agree with his kind of like his criticism about me, this is, I'm just rejecting his criticize from my mouth. I just disagree with my mouth. But the main, this his criticism, it's going towards me anyway, if we fail to remind ourselves and remember, if we fail to remember the death, generally accepting uncertainty, particularly the death, the greatest change, which no one able to handle it. No one wants to handle it, and no one able to bear with this kind of change. And so that kind of change, although no one able to bear with it, no one able to accept it, but that is part of me, is I have no choice. And sooner or later, I must undergo this experience of death. So better remind from now. So this is something have a lot of misinterpreter and misunderstanding of this Buddha's teaching of contemplating upon death. And many people misinterpreting it and also misunderstanding it, that thinking, oh, remembering or reminding myself as a death, it's something discouraging myself or something creating some sort of like a discomfort within myself, and some sort of like a generating stress within myself. People interpret in that way of this contemplation of on uh, generally uncertainty, and particularly the great uncertainty, which is death. Yes, if Buddha is not giving or providing any remedy or method after understanding it, after remembering it, what we should do to avoid, then yes, just that information, maybe we are right. It is just generating stress within oneself. It is just providing discomfort within oneself. But that's not the case. In Buddha's teaching, he's not merely stopping his teaching after introducing this, oh, you will definitely going to die. And then he just stopped his teaching. It's not like that. So therefore, there's a way that you can skip it. There's a way that you can utilize your this time in a proper way rather than wasting. And that is the main point that Buddha is trying to give us through these teachings, rather than completely spending our time in mundane goal or mundane chores, which is very meaningless. Not just meaningless, but it creates a lot of negativities to experience oneself in the future, near future. So therefore, in order to avoid all those consequences, which is no one wants to experience in the near future, and also in order, in order to find a right things or meaningful things for us to contemplate and implement. For that purpose, and then Buddha's giving these teachings such as impermanent and uncertaintiness. Anyhow, so this example, if we don't scrutinize upon its words and upon its meaning, if we just read it, it is very simple. It is just understanding, like kind of like the how the fish are definite to die once they caught in a net of the tapper. Likewise, and then there's those buffaloes who is near the butcher, how they will going to die. And these are simple, very easy to understand. But the real true test of this teaching, just how to say, this our situation right now while we are alive, this our situation, it's what Shantideva was really trying to telling us is the very similar as those fishes, very similar as those buffalo. And then also next stanza, very similar those who are kind of like the the paths of fleets are blocked. That's what they translated, right? First, let me read this third one stanza, then I will conclude with this. So this, the sixth stanza, that sixth stanza, which is saying, lamni kunne kaune chidagini te shindu jidar chune sagashin jidar nilo jidar gas. Ditar nilo jidar gas. Which is how they translated here in all the paths of the fleet are blocked. The Lord of Death now has you in his sights. How can you take such pleasure in your food? And how can you delight to rest and sleep? This is something we can see those persons who get a death sentence in a prison, right? The person who got a death sentence in a prison, and 100% sure that person it's not going to able to swallow food properly, and 100% sure that person not going to have a delight sleep. Or yesterday what it said, kind of like a slumber sleep. What is that? Yeah, slumber on so soundly. There's a no slumber sleep then, is it? Slumber. Slumber means very, yes, and delight or rest and sleep, right? Delightly sleep. Slumber is better maybe. So delight, same, I think. Slumber sleep or delight sleep. There's no way, right? We can a little bit imagine from now here. If I got a death sentence, let's say I get noticed from the government or police or whatsoever that your death day is September 1st. Let's say today is the, what is September, August 9, right? If I get this noticed, this police or the government sending me this, or send some persons to tell me this message. And then from today until this September 1st, oh, I'm sure I won't be able to sleep proper. I'm sure that I won't be able to swallow my all breakfast and lunch and dinner and those snacks. And then I won't be able to bike. And I won't be able to even maybe thinking about playing soccer. Isn't it? That is very imaginable. So the mainly those three stanza, what Shantideva was saying, just the different is the time. Time is different. Our situation is just similar like that. Let's say, for instance, those tapper got a 1 million big fish. And definitely that tapper will not going to kill all those million fish within a day, right? How many fish that he can sell per day? Let's say he got 1 million fish, and then per day he's able to sell this very big fish, right? I'm saying big fish. And then probably, let's say each fish has a 20 pound. And how many fish he will going to able to sell per day? 100 fish? 1,000 fish? Even 10,000 fish? Let's say 10,000 fish. Now imagine very big, let's say 10,000 fish. So even he is able to do the business or sell 10,000 fish per day. And then that, which means he will kill those 10,000 fish out of this million, isn't it? And then rest of the 990,000 fish is freed one day their life, isn't it? They are not going to die at that day that when he caught up in net. He will going to put in some very nice glass box with the water, with the oxygen, providing oxygen, and then also may provide food. Right? And then every day, the 10,000 fish is reducing. You see? And then the last 10,000, how many days it takes those last 10,000 to lost their life? How many days? 10. 199 days they are enjoying, isn't it? The last, those 10,000 fishes are enjoying the 99 days in his clean glass box with the water, oxygen, and food. And just like that, next stanza, those buffalo. Even those butcher, how many buffalo will going to kill per day? It's limited, right? Even those butcher cannot kill whatever they want. It's very limited, right? And then let's say he got a 10,000 buffalo. He may able to do business on 20 buffalo a day or 50 buffalo a day, at the most 100 buffalo a day. And then if he have 10,000 buffalo, how long it will going to be takes? Another 100 days to finish this 10,000 buffalo, isn't it? And then same here, last those 100 buffalo are enjoying in his, enjoying in his this, those? They put the cows. Paddocks. Yeah. Last those 100 buffaloes are enjoying in his paddock with the grass provided, with the water provided. And then we humans are so greedy, then we will try within this 99 days, we will make those 100 buffalo fatted, biggest, as much as we can. So we can get the extra pound, isn't it? So that's very much like that. So our situations right now, it is just like that. Every being, how many beings we have in this world? Generally, we are saying 7 billion human beings. So all 7 billion human beings are actually caught by this lot of death. But this lot of death only able to do the business with the sudden number among this 7 billion human being. He cannot hold this 7 billion human being within a day. He cannot do that business. Just like those fishermen, just like those butcher. You see? And this is really showing from this meaning. We are just like that. This Lord of Death, we already caught by him. And now either we are enjoying in his what? Paddock? Right now we are enjoying in his paddock, eating grass, drinking water, and make it oneself fat as much as we can. He is trying to feed all those unnecessary things to make it fat, right? So when he do business, he get more money. More or less, our situation right now, our life is just like that. And then this sixth stanza, that is so scary, isn't it? Actually, I am going to die in the 1st September, not now. But since I got this message or noticed, oh, I already died from today. That's why we died from today, because now we aware, we recognize that, okay, we remember the September 1st. That's why we death from now. But the purpose of Buddha's teaching upon the understanding or remembering that September 1st is not only that. Then he's providing, okay, from now until September 1st, what you can do to skip this kind of like a skip this what do you call a panic. What you can do is this. And yes, you have this 20 more days. You have 20 more days to try to skip this. Even though you are failed to skip that day, but still you can gain something, sorts of like a merit that one can utilize after this September 1st. You see? Anyway, so that's very understandable, isn't it? These teachings are not that difficult, yes. But the thing is that what we need to do is we need to contemplate on it. That we need to get that sense from these three stanzas. That we are just like those buffalo. We are just like those fishes. We are just like that person who got a noticed death sentence. There's no fleet. All the paths of the fleets are blocked. The Lord of Death now has you in his sight. We need to remember that, yes. Failing to remembering or reminding this point is the one kind of like a biggest conditions that we will going to procrastinate our responsible. This is something very true, isn't it? That what Shantideva was really saying is that if the all path is blocked, the path of the fleet is blocked, and then this kind of like a person who is giving you the death sentence, he's watching at you. You aware this both situations. There's no way that I can flee it. And then the person who is going to kill me, he is just watching and tearing on me. Is it tearing on me? Huh? Looking or tearing. Tearing means terrorizing. Terrorizing at me. Is it? Yeah, just like this, right? Staring. Oh, staring on me. Yes, staring on me. Chidaginiteshindu. That death, Lord of death is staring on me. After availing both these situations, and then what Shantideva was saying is how anyone or you can eat the food properly, and how will able to sleep properly with the joy, with the sense of joy, how you will able to eat food with the joy, and how will be able to sleep with the joy, with the delight, with the slumber, right? That's what he's just asking. This is very kind of like a common sense, right? No one will be able to handle this after availing these two situations. There's no path to fleet, and then this person who is going to kill me, he is staring at me. So what Shantideva was really trying to saying is, more or less, nonetheless, right now, we are just either neglecting it or not recognizing it. Actually, the fact we are in that situations. That's what he's trying to tell us. That's what he's trying to remind us. And then the point is that what he's also trying is that we should aware about these situations. At the moment I am in that situation. If that the case, for instance, if I got this noticed from government, September 1st is your final day, then from today, what I will going to do, it's call everywhere and talk to everybody and run and run and run to find out the scapegoat, isn't it? I will, this is my responsibility after I got this notice, isn't it? So I have this 20 days. I have this 20 days that within this 20 days, my biggest responsibility is to find a path of fleet, isn't it? That's my responsible. In order to do that, Maybe I need to call to the government, police. I need to go to their office and talk. I need to talk to the lawyers. I need to pay lawyer, hire lawyer, solicitor. This solicitor I learned uh, recently dealing with my land. And finally now we got a land. Solicitor. So I need to do this, isn't it? I need to find the right solicitor, lawyer, fight for me with the government, law. These are my responsibility after I get this notice. After I got this notice of death sentence on 1st September, I will not even dearly thinking to go to play soccer, isn't it? If even after I got this notice, the death sentence in 1st September, if I go play soccer, then yes, that is called laziness or procrastination. That no one will going to do it, isn't it? That is called procrastination, laziness. You are procrastinating your responsibility, isn't it? Can I say that? I am procrastinating my responsible if I do that, right? But who will going to do this after awaiting these two situations, right? After aware these two situations, what I should do is find out the right solicitor and then to talk to the right person, talk to the right judge to find out the path of flight, isn't it? That's my biggest responsible. What? Flight. Find out the right flight. That's my responsibility. It is very common. Yeah. So you see, anyone in this world, human being, after got this notice, they will not going to play soccer like me. And then all those normally whatever they enjoying, they will going to skip all those, rather going to fight with it. Find the how to fight with that law, isn't it? And this is, yes, absolutely. It is right things to do to find out the flight, path of flight. Find out the path of flight. That's the right thing to do, yes. Just like that, here, after understanding all these three meanings, what Shantideva was saying, and then what we need to find is find the path of flight from this suffering of death. There is an option. Contemplating or implementing this meaning of uncertainty, particularly the death, will help us to remove this sense of procrastinations. That's what it means. Excuse me. Okay, and then further, continuously, he's keep continuously giving another some sort of like a antidote or the skills. this next seventh stanza. Nyurwani do chigurwe, jisidune tsoksaja, detse lelo pangjani tuma imbar chishikchas. Which is now actually this stanza, what it is showing is that each and every beings, they're ending its death for sure. The death will swoop, death will swoop on you so swiftly. Therefore, gathered merit till that moment comes. For even if you then throw off your indolence, what will you do when there is no more times? This is now what Shantideva was saying, is that after understanding all this, you should malleable first and reduce and lay it low after, and then subjugate and try to eliminate this laziness of procrastinations. Now, after you understanding all this, and then, how to say, in the one hand, reducing, malleabling, laid lowing, and eliminating this sense of laziness, of procrastinations. And on the other hand, what he's suggesting is gathered merit till that moment comes. This is something he is telling, before death comes, one should do this. Not at the time when death comes on me. So therefore it is saying, for even if you then throw off your indolence, what will you do when there's no more time? Which means when we are in the death procedure, okay, when I am, okay, let's say, when I am in the death procedure, at that moment, even I throw off my indolence, or which is laziness, right? Same, indolence or laziness. And particularly here, laziness refer to this laziness of procrastination. Even I throw off, or kind of like get rid of this procrastination, laziness. What will I do? Because there's no time for me to do anything, gathered merit, that I don't have any capability at the moment to gather merit. For instance, at that moment, I won't be able to move my physical body properly, which means I won't be able to pay one prostrations to the Triple Gem. I won't be able to do one circumambulations even to the little stupa. And then my tongue is kind of like a, what do you call it? Almost swollen or swallow, kind of like I won't be able to speak. So even one mani mantra, I won't be able to recite at that moment through my verbal. Even one refuge stanza, I won't be able to say it. Likewise, through my mental, at that moment, oh, I'm in a so scary moment. Even someone who tells me, now this is so important for you to think Buddha or your root teacher or Dharma, refuge, those informations will going to be annoying. Those informations will become annoying me. So mentally, I won't be able to apply it. Even I remove this indolence, laziness. Even yes, definitely, at that moment, definitely I will able to eliminate this laziness or procrastinations. Yes, but by eliminating this, on the other hand, what responsibility I should do is to gather the merit, right? Which is now, it's too late. Which is impossible at that moment. That's what Shantideva was saying here. While we are alive, while we are fit, while we are healthy, while we are capable, and that is the moment to aware all those situations like a fish, buffalo, and then the person who get death sentence. Be aware oneself is similar like that. And after awareing it, not just remain in a scary things, but rather engage and gather all the merit as much as we can till that moment comes. And person who is doing, and again here this same, more or less the people here who is listening this, trying. People who are not trying are not listening. This is unfortunately one way of, unfortunately, always those people who have trying their best has to listen all this information. People who completely neglecting, they don't wanna, they, how to say, not they don't want, also they will not going to hear any of this informations. I don't know whether we should say this is they are fortunate or unfortunate. But when this death comes, yes, everybody will going to abandon this procrastination, laziness for sure. Nothing to procrastinate now. At that moment, yes, everybody will able to abandon this laziness or procrastinations, yes, but it is too late, useless. Too late and useless to abandon this procrastination, laziness. That's what Shantideva was saying. So, what he's really trying to saying is that, so while we aware about it, while we are fit and healthy, and this is the right moment that we should gather all the merit. And during the procedure of death and trying all these things, it's late. This is also important that we should understand. Shantideva is not talking about during the procedures, no one will able to handle it or no one will be able to apply it. He's not saying that. He's saying that is the moment which is late, which is useless to abandon this indolence to those who never tried before, who never practiced before. Person who have sense of experience of implementing the spiritual path and sense of reminding themselves this constantly while they are fit and healthy, remembering the death or generally uncertainty often, and then particularly the death, reminding often. And those type of person during the death procedures, yes, definitely they will going to handle it. That's not the Shantideva's point here, saying it's too late. It's not too late for them who have been tying through of the indolence since they are healthy and fit, capable. And since they are gathering all the merit as much as they can while they are in a fit, healthy, and capable. And those type of person, even during that death procedures, yes, they will going to handle it. That's not late for them. So anyhow, the point here, what Shantideva was saying from this stanza 7 is, this is the moment. And we need to understand the certaintiness, what do you call it? Certaintiness. How to say? Certainty of death. And then until that procedure began, before this procedure began, it's the right time to throw off the indolence, gathered merit, and throw off indolence. Here, indolence more refers to indolence of procrastinations. And then the next one, the next stanza, the 8th stanza, that is talking about the death. It's certain, but that certain death, it's uncertain. So the before stanza 7, it's talk about the death, it's certain. But that certain death itself, it's uncertain. Understanding what Shantideva was really trying to say. So therefore, Shantideva was saying here this. Dine maje tsambadang, di che chebar nebala, lobur chida ongneni, ki hu chomshe sember gyururus. This I have not done, and this I am only starting, and this I am only halfway through. Then is the sudden coming of lot of death, and oh, the thought, alas, I am finished. This is something happening to the most of us. Many of us kind of like we can say 100%ly those normal people who spending whole their life in mundane, more or less end up with the regret. End up with the regret. The sense of regret is here. That, oh, sense of regret is, it's kind of like what kind of regret they have, they will going to end up with is, I have not done. Either I have not done this, or they will going to end up their life with the regret of this, I am only starting. Or, and this, I am only halfway through. Very rare people that who will able to die with the satisfaction. Satisfying. Very rare, very rare. So the point here through these teachings are whole one's life, spending completely doing kind of like trying to fixing the faults and protect and support the relatives and engage into the business and farming, as well as those 8 mundane concerns, trying to gain the pleasure within both physical and mental, and then trying to gain some wealth, right? Or how to say, trying to gain pleasure, wealth, fame, praise. And then try to abandon unpleasant, what do you call it, loss, right? Try to avoid the unpleasant loss and humiliations, and yeah, infamy or slander. And whole life spending our time only cherishing after these things, that's really, Shantideva said, it is some sort of like, if someone spend whole their life by engaging into this kind of mundane activity, and that is something called West. If possible, absolutely engage 100% into spiritual, which is great challenge, I know. But at least, even though it is not possible 100% engage into a spiritual, but try to make it fair here, 50-50%. while engaging spiritual and mundane 50-50, but at the same time, simultaneously, in deep down in our mind, always carrying that sense. This spiritual is something that is my priority, or that is something my greatest responsibility of being alive. While we are keeping this 50-50, mundane and spiritual. Regardless whether we are able to implement 100% or not. Even though for our survive purpose or for our livelihood purpose, even though we need to engage into these mundane activities, but at the same time, simultaneously having that sense, it is essenceless. That is regardless of whether we are able to abandon this mundane, engaging into mundane activity or not. That has a very, why it is so great to have this two sides. In a one side, regardless whether we are engaging into mundane and spiritual 50-50, but still at the simultaneously in deep down in our mind, having that sense, this spiritual is something, my priority, my purpose of life. And then on the other hand, even though one engaging into mundane activity, such as above mentioned, cherishing after those 8 worldly concerns, or kind of like trying to fixing faults, protecting and support relatives, engaging into business or farming, whatsoever. Even we engage into those mundane activities, but nonetheless, in deep down, in simultaneously having that sense, these are all essenceless. Even one engaging. I'll tell you why it is so important to have this. It is because, that whatever we experienced at the moment and whatever we will going to experience in the future, that all will going to decide by our karma. And therefore, it is very beneficial as much as we can make our karma less strong, even though we need to engage into its activity. But it is very crucial point that as much as we can lay it low, or as much as we can make it less stronger, so it won't produce its consequences that much unbearable, that much strong, because the causes and condition is light. When we able to make it cause and condition light, and then result will going to be light too. That's natural phenomena. Depend the consequences or the result Whether it is how much it is light or strong, it depends on how much causes and conditions are strong or light. You see? So by having these two type of sense, while 50-50 engaging into spiritual and mundane, all the spiritual practice, whatever we do, with the having a sense deep down, that is my priority. That's the my how to say main purpose of life. Having that intention, it makes that activities, those merits are stronger. And then on the other hand, having that sense, regardless whether I am able to handle it or not, whether I am able to abandon this completely or not, but nonetheless, engaging into all this mundane activity is essenceless in deep down our mind. Having that sense, it will going to reduce. Even I kill somebody, the action of killing karma will going to be lighter than having than the intention. Yes, that is my essence-full activity. Anyhow, so these are a little bit side note. And but main point what Shantideva was trying to telling us through this the 8 stanza is this certainty of death itself is uncertainty, never knows when it comes. So therefore you be aware it that it never know when it comes. So therefore you remove this sense of procrastination, laziness from now. And then now he is trying to let us meditate on impermanence from the life to about to death and uncertainties, the certainty of death, and then certainty of death itself is uncertainty, and then to the death when the person, this is now talking about the procedure of death. When the procedure of death begins with oneself, normal, general persons, how they are dealing with and how they will going to deal with this death or procedure of death, it's in this way. Nyangen shu kitang bai migmar dong la chimanza nyendu retha chebana shinji ponye shin la taas. Rangdik trembe dongwa dang nyalwi drani thebai trakpe mitsang lu goshin nyobar gyurse chishik chaas. So now, this is what, when the normal people die, and during the procedure of death, that's how normal people ending up. It's saying, they translated, you will look upon the face of your hopeless friends at that moment. So now this is procedure, during the death procedure, okay? Their tear-stained cheeks. Is it? What is that? Tear-stained cheek. Tear-stained. Their tear-stained cheeks, their red and swollen eyes. For such will be depths for their distress. And then you will see the heralds of the deadly Lord. This is something now. This is this one, the last line one is the invisible for us. And other than this last line, yes, we are seeing the tear-stained cheeks. Yes, their red eye when they're about to die, and their swollen eyes, right? And then such will be the depths of their distress. That is also we are seeing it, isn't it? But those hopeless friends are not seeing that. The herald of the deadly Lord. Those helpless friend who is surrounded that person who is in a dying procedure, those are not seeing that one. And nowadays, because of those little bit developed, we have this all hospitals and drug and those so-called medication, painkiller. I don't know how much they can help to skip this kind of experience or not. It seems like outlook, it seems like those medications, painkillers and drugs are able to skip all those difficulties that we're saying, oh, my friend died in a very peaceful way. We used to say that, right? For many people, I have heard this so many times. Thank you so much. My friend is slept just like slept. His experience nobody knows. Just like a person who die in a water. Only and how to say alone and only the he or she knows exact experience of dying in the waters. Rather than that, rest of the others from outlook, we will say, oh, that person died very easily within 10 minutes. Within half an hour. We feel 10 minutes, half an hour, very short. But actually, dying in the water, it's saying there's a no worse experience than dying in the water. And similar like that in a hospital, doctors, nurse, they give all these injections, drugs, painkiller, whatsoever. And then this person is just like not moving. It makes like a paralyzed, not moving, not talking, and then cannot say anything, even cannot move finger properly. And then pull out this oxygen and then die. And then friends are looking. He didn't move. He didn't say anything. Oh, that means he died very peaceful. Yes, nowadays we say that. He died so peaceful. Why? Because he's not screaming at all. How he will going to scream? And then he died very peaceful because he's even not moving, just like a falling in sleep. And this information Nowadays, informations, we are we are unable to see this experience nowadays less and less because of these all medications and drugs and painkiller. And before, when the lay persons die, when the ordinary, very ordinary non-practitioner die, and yet this thing's very happening. Look upon the face of your hopeless friend and then ask them to do something, right? You just lay down on the bed and then look your, if you have family, you look your father, mother, siblings, and friends all surrounded. And they also cry. And then I cry, tears stain on my cheek, right? Tears stain cheek. What does it? Their tears stain cheeks, their red and swollen eye. And for such will be the depth of their distress, isn't it? A lot of distress, screaming, and even some, even they crush themselves. And then this information is very invisible. You will see the heralds of the deadly Lord. That only that person is seeing it. No one else is seeing it. All the friends and everything. You see, that's the one reason. That's the one reason normally we call when people about to die, they become crazy. We only see they become crazy. Actually, they are not crazy. They're seeing those things. That's why they're terrified by these seeings. And what we're seeing is, oh, now he become crazy. That means that's the sign of about to die. We predict that. But actually, his experience is this now. This is secret, actually. It is secret, right? And then see the heralds of deadly Lord. At that moment, also this kind of things is happening. The memory of the former sins will torture. Why they want to translate it you here? Even in a Tibetan, they have a self, I. Look here. In Tibetan translation, Rangdik Trembe Dungwadang. It means the memory of former sins of self tortures. And still, even though there's a self, they're translating you. I don't know what is happening here. The memory of former sins will torture self, not you. Nearly done in Tebai. The screams and din of the hell break on your ears. Now there's a no you and I. It is just talking based on a sense of I, right? Self. Then it screams and din of the hell break on ears. That's it. No need yours. With the very terror will fall yourself. Chakpe mitsang luk Mitsang Lu Kushings. What does it mean? With the very terror will fall yourself. Huh?
When people die, they foul themselves. They lose control of their
Bladder,
urine.
urole, and the orifice.
Yes, they lose control.
And then shit and urethrols all coming. Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. Takpe mitsang lu gushings. Because of terror, because of the terror, will fall oneself. What will you do in such delirium? Is it?
Delirium means to have no control of your mind.
Yeah. Nyobar gyurse chishijas. Yes. So this two stanza, okay, 9 and 10. This is exactly Shantideva was talking about how and when normal people means doesn't have any experience of spiritual die, how how the procedure of death looks like. This is big message actually. This two meaning of this two stanza is quite happening every day in our world. Every day, especially nowadays, this COVID. Oh, every day, how many people passing? And most of them having this experience. I don't know how much those people who are dying out of this COVID at this moment in the world, how much they have experience of spiritual path, able to accept the death. If they are unable to accept the death, this is what will going to be happening. This all terrifying happening, one biggest reason is rejecting the death. In short, rejecting the death, rejecting the changes, rejecting the uncertainty. We can simply see the example in such during our lifetime when we reject the change, when we reject the uncertainty, and those will going to scream. Those who are neglecting and rejecting the death and changes and uncertainty will going to against the natural. Means they will going to scream, they will going to terror themselves, they will become rat eye, swollen eye, right? Distress, the depth, what do you call it? The depth of their distress, this kind of experience happening. What I'm saying here is this kind of experience that very small but similar, it is also happening when we are alive. When this kind of similar experience happening in our life, it's when we reject the changes, when we not accept the uncertainty, then we will going to rest so many unnecessary questions ourselves. Why this has happened to me? And he is the one who created this. She is the one who did this to me. All this kind of screaming will going to start then. Simply raising questions oneself, why and he or she created this problem to me, simply will going to fact if I able to accept uncertainty. Finish. That very moment, as soon as I accept, okay, this is all I did it. Finish. No need to scream. No need to bully on others. No need to blame on others. No need to yell. No need to rest question. You see, this is what I'm saying. Similar like this two meaning of this 9 and 10 stanza meaning. It is happening while we are alive. And why I'm telling you this, the main reason why both during the lifetime and the death, during the death or procedure of death, it's happening, it is because unable to accept this change. And then the biggest change is the death, which is when we reject this death occurs to oneself. Then all this problem, suffering, screaming, yelling, red eye, swollen eye, distress, hearing the scream and din of the hell breath on one's ear, terror and fall oneself. Delirium. Is it delirium? Delirium. So the delirium. Oh, not tree. There's no tree. Why I saw the tree? That's my illusion. I saw the T in it. That's what I'm saying. Delirium. There's no tree. Delirium. Yes. So the delirium. This all will going to be happen. The one very important point when we don't accept the death. That's the biggest thing. Okay, anyway, so today we stop here. Little bit kind of like a, what to say, dislike to contemplate on its meaning, isn't it? Anyway, so we stop here and do dedication. Sanam di tamje zikba nyin, tomne nye ben danam tamje shin, chega nanji walon tubayi, sibin zolen dogun do warashu, jambal bawen jidara kemba na, kundu zombo teyan de jinde, teda kunjin jesu nalo jin, Gewan de da tamje rabdongo, Gewan de yeshe okun, Sonam yeshe tozone, Sonam yeshe le chungwe, Tamba kunyin tobarasho, Sanje kusum nyebe chenlam dang, Chunye minjur dembe chenlam dang, Gendin mechen dembe chenlam ji, Jidra nguwa melam drubarshu. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion, may I liberate all being tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming, by conforming to the knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambalyang, and in the same way as Samendabhadra, Kundusambo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all being perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, sunam, and wisdom, yeshe, and may they thereafter obtain the two holy bodies which result from these two accumulation. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sanje, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the truth of the Dharmata, Chunyi, by the blessing of the infallible aspiration of the Sangha, Gendun, may this prayer of dedications be accomplished just as it is. Thank you. Have a good day. See you later.